place where I was yelling, "Echo!" I didn't vlog very much or at all since we got here for the surgery. The surgery was successful. My bandage is now off and Zeus is packing up because tomorrow we're going home. I'm so excited. And then on Thursday, it's my birthday. I'm still drinking the first Myalgic of the day. And Zeus is packing. And we ordered a new one of my orange jackets because it's getting a hole in its sleeve. And I was really sad because that's my favorite jacket because it's super comfortable and my favorite color. Hello everyone, we are headed home today and I'm really excited to go home because, I mean, who isn't? And last night was not a night that we shall repeat. It was, so I went to bed kind of late, I guess, I don't know.
After me.
After her, but it was still like 9 o'clock. I was sliding around in bed and it was kind of annoying. And then it started hurting my neck. And then I was still sliding around, so then by then it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Then that's when I started. 2 o'clock was when I started crying. 3:30 was when they finally heard me, and then they woke up, and then it was rearrange the entire bed and bedroom, which had couch cushions, chairs, other things still in it. And then Zeus played with me. And I probably fell asleep around like 4:30ish. It was kind of turning light outside. And now it's 5:50 and this is eating chips. And Dad's drinking all the coffee. Okay, now we're actually headed to the car. Almost. I'm loading all the stuff onto my lap. I have some ginger ale and that's how this morning has started. I can't remember if I said during the last time that I was vlogging that Nolan didn't make it home last night yet. They are apparently stuck in Dallas. With the way that his travel plans tend to go slowly and then they kind of eventually get there by the end of the night, we will probably make it home before him. We made it to the airport. And we're at the rental cars. We're not even to the airport part yet. And my neck is already hurting.
Oh good, here comes our bus.
But our bus is here. Look at the date. The checking in process was really easy. And then TSA, they were really helpful. This was the first time I've walked through security because normally we just have me stay in my wheelchair and then they swap my hands and swap my wheelchair and like give me a pat down. I walked through the little thing and then our predicament was that there wasn't somebody immediately available to swap my wheelchair and do all those things. So then I was trying to stand in the middle of the chaos and there were people literally running. So Zeus put her arms underneath my armpits and was like holding me up so that at least I wouldn't fall on the floor if they crashed into me. I forgot to update in the elevator. We had to take an elevator, I think.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Or maybe we didn't. For whenever we were at United, we didn't have to take an elevator, and then we went through security, and now we're finding another elevator, I think, or possibly, yes, elevator, to go to the terminal to go home. I'm so excited to be going home, you guys, like, can't even describe. When we're leaving, the Dulles Airport is great because the people on the bus in the mornings are really helpful. And then the people at the check-in desk are not too busy and they're not really tired, so they're not grumpy with us. We went to TSA, which was really easy. They just asked us to pull down our masks so that they could check our ID with our face. We're in the United terminal and this is the place where I was yelling, "Echo!" Water bottle filling before we go on the plane. They have these handy things in most of the airports. They even had one of these in our Fresno airport. As we are going through the airport, we started getting notifications that our plane was delayed. And then we get to the gate, and the gate agent, like, I heard from the pilot or the whoever, air traffic control, that they are still on the ground in New Jersey. Apparently our plane was having some sort of technology issue. I will gladly wait for a plane that is not having a technology issue. It was just a little bit worrisome because we had a 2-hour window, because we found that 2-hour layover is the best for traveling with my wheelchair and everything, because it gives us enough time to unload from the plane, get my wheelchair, push over to the other one, and then usually they're ready for us to board fairly soon after we get there. But our window was getting a little closer, and then we finally hear that the plane has taken off from New Jersey and would be arriving to Dulles in about 40 minutes. So in Dulles, we're all waiting, and our connecting flight was the last flight from LAX to Fresno for the entire day. So we were getting stressed because if we missed that flight, then I don't know what we would have done. This lady, who happened to just be sitting next to us, heard us talking about Fresno, and she says to Zeus, "You guys are headed to Fresno too?" And then they started talking, and apparently the lady is staying in Fresno for like a month, but that's all beside the point. The plane gets there, and then they have to do the cleaning, the food services people have to go on there, the pilots that flew from New Jersey have to come off, and then our pilots have to go on and do all the little testing and all that stuff. Meanwhile, we're all waiting, and we're like, oh no, like we're gonna be cutting it really close, because the 2-hour window, we had been waiting for about an hour and a half by the time we were able to get on. And so as we're getting on, everybody, the flight attendants and the pilots, everybody are like, please find your seat quickly so we can leave and hopefully get to the West Coast in time for everybody to catch their connecting flight. This flight was really, really good. We didn't have any problems on that flight with people or anything. Once we started our descent into Los Angeles, you could hear this whispering amongst the people, like, oh my gosh, are we gonna make it? And then people started asking the flight attendants, I have a connecting flight in 20 minutes. Do you think we're gonna make it? Is it worth it for me to start running to try to get there? And the flight attendants were like, we don't know. We only know what is happening on our plane, and then like what air traffic tells them on the iPad or whatever. Wobbly. That's wobbly on the conveyor belt. So they held the plane for us, which I gotta tell this story. I'll probably tell this in the full story, but they held the plane for us, and we looked like a hot mess coming onto the plane. But here we are, and we're here. As soon as we landed in LA, the pilot came over the speaker and asked that all of the passengers, except for those trying to connect to a flight to Fresno, Redding, or Eureka, would be the only people to get up and leave first. Since it was an airline issue, those 3 flights were being held up at their gates. So once we got to the gate, surprisingly everybody listened. So we're walking to the front, and normally we wait to be the last ones off the plane so that I'm not a hindrance to everybody else is getting off the plane, and we have to wait for my wheelchair anyways. So we get off, and Zeus and that lady took off running to tell the plane we got here, we're getting on, and then we had to wait in the jet bridge for my wheelchair. The airline had also sent a person with a wheelchair for me, so they had me hop on there, and then they still brought up my wheelchairs. We thought that the lady would be able to help us get there quicker, but then her little iPad thing started acting up, and then it wasn't letting her scan our boarding passes, and she has to scan the boarding pass for it to tell her where to go. And we're trying to make our way over there, and Zeus had called me like, where are you? Why is it taking so long? So once I hung up, I was like, what? They are holding the plane for us. And then the lady started walking a little bit faster, and we got there, and then I don't know why they had me get out at the top of the air bridge, but this was gate 86 in LA, which is the longest jet bridge I have ever seen. The jet bridge, I'd say, it's definitely longer than a football field. That was a really long walk. So then they had me get back onto the wheelchair and push me down to the end. And then we had to wait for our checked bags and the other lady's checked bags to be transferred to the plane. So then we were sitting there at the gate for another like 10 to 15 minutes. That flight was pretty good. I had a little bit of trouble with headache and nausea during that flight, but it wasn't nearly as bad as the flight on the way home from my tethered cord surgery, so I still say that this one was a good flight. I've learned that the larger the plane, the easier time I have dealing with the change in elevation. The little planes that fly into Fresno are quite small. We got back to Fresno, and then everybody unloads, and then we wait for them to bring the little ramp chair again, and then Zeus videoed me on the ramp. Except for normally they have 2 people help somebody down the ramp on the little aisle chair, but since I'm really small, they just had 1 person, and they had me face backwards, so I was facing the plane as we're going down the ramp. But typically when they have 2 people helping, they always have me face away from the plane, and then 1 person's behind me and 1 person does the little front thingamabobs. We got done with that, and Sharon came to get us from the airport, and we beat Noel home. So we were all exhausted from our travel day. After we arrived home back to our house, we heard from Noel that he was about to load his flight, and then one of his friends who he was traveling with, their dad was going to pick them up from the airport and then drop off Noel at our house on their way home. He finally arrived home around 7 p.m. We were all already in bed, but I got out of bed to say hi since I wasn't asleep yet, and that is the end of our traveling. This surgery was very successful in the symptoms that it helped. Some things it helped more than we expected, some things it helped less than we expected. So that was my anterior cervical fusion and traveling adventure. I am a little sad that I didn't vlog certain things, because back before I went to the pre-op appointment in May, I had decided to take a break from vlogging, and I know, really bad timing, but it was for the betterment of my mental health. And I need to find a balance between being sad that I didn't vlog things and vlogging too many things, because I was becoming really self-critical, and I don't know where I'm going with this or what my plans are for the near or far future. So I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.